of Course 16. I thought it was based on last night.
It's based on, it's a certain period in this trip.
Do you want that wet on or off?
Oh, it's fine. Okay. I don't mind. Either way.
Hello?
Hey! What's that?
You can.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
Hi.
Can you see? Am I here?
Not yet.
Not yet?
You can. Please start your cam.
Start your cam.
That's right.
Right, normally it automatically starts here. Press this bit here.
Okay.
This bit.
Yeah, okay. Might just be a photograph, that one. Oh no, here we go. That's the button to click. Yeah, and this one here, which says you're on mute. Can you guys hear it?
I can hear. Yeah, we can hear you.
We just can't see you.
I'm thinking about it. No, I don't know where it's at. What is it doing?
Yeah, I don't know.
I can fiddle around. I fiddle around. Right. Doing it.
Oh, I probably have
You did.
Oh, hey!
Back.
That way. Turn camera on. Not doing it. We would try joining. We're just going to try joining you again. So hold on a sec.
Okay.
Okay.
That's how it records. It's broadcasting.
Oh, that's cool. Oh, hey, are you putting it on YouTube?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's okay. We were confused. Well, we went over course 1 in the first couple classes. So did you email the course? I did. And then you know what else I did? No. I didn't log out and I log the speaker. Oh, they'll log you out. Okay.
It's an art log out.
Oh,
After 2 seconds or so.
It's weird to say, isn't it? Did it get rain earlier?
Yeah, had it several days.
Oh, really?
You know, if you see up, if you guys look towards the top,
yeah.
That little toolbar kind of pops down.
Yeah, it's. I've got it, and I've got the right thing, and it keep clicking turn camera on, but it's just not physically doing it.
Is the actual physical camera on?
No, there's no physical. It's in the computer.
Oh.
You know where you have to go.
I don't know why it's not doing it.
You go into
Okay.
the start. I think it's the start menu, and then go to control panel.
Hold on a sec. HP webcam. So we're on HP, aren't we?
Yeah.
Let's try that. Oh, the light went on. Yay!
Hey, we saw you! We saw you! Yay!
Momentarily.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. I thought Esther peeked in there.
Thank goodness for Esther. She saved the day again. It's a beautiful picture through your window.
Oh, can you see it?
Yeah, the mountain there going up. It looks like a barn or some kind of house.
There's a house, yeah.
Oh yeah, there's a barn too. Shed, neighbors.
Wow.
Neighbors. Esther Rock, Campbell.
Okay, who's up?
I'm gonna pull up the PDF so my mom can follow along.
Aren't you a nice girl?
It's if I don't freeze the computer. Sorry. Sorry. Hold on one second. All right. Well, who wants to start? Yeah. Here is the great earth, filled with the smell of incense, and covered in a blanket of flowers. The great mountain and the 4 continents, wearing the jewel of the sun and the moon. In my mind, I make them the paradise of the Buddha, and offer it all to you. By this deed, may every living being experience the pure love. Idam Guru Ratnam Mandala Kam. I go for refuge to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha until I achieve enlightenment. By the power of the goodness that I do, giving and all the rest, may I reach Buddhahood for the sake of every living being. I go for refuge to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha until I achieve enlightenment. By the power of the goodness that I do, giving and the rest, may I reach Buddhahood for the sake of every living being. I go for refuge to the Buddha, the Dharma, and Sangha until I achieve enlightenment. By the power of the goodness that I do, the giving and the rest, may I reach Buddhahood for the sake of every living being.
Any questions? Anything from last class? As Ken Rinpoche say, good, everybody knows it. I'd like to make a couple of comments in some depth of last week. One of them, when we were talking about the sitting, it was just mentioned. Of course, this is a review course, so it doesn't go into extreme detail of all of the things. But and everywhere you hear is the 7-point posture of Vairocana. And that's with the full lotus kind of thing. Not many humans can do that, and that's okay. The main thing is a level of comfort. If it's a chair, if you sit Indian style, if you sit with your legs straight out, one leg up, whatever it is, whatever makes you comfortable. Because something to remember, you don't get extra credit for suffering. Mm-hmm. And if you hurt, you can't concentrate. You can't keep the object in mind. Another thing that people often misconstrue is, it talks about the eyes, and a lot of places you read, it says, follow the nose down. Well, if you got a nose like mine, you're looking at the mountain straight ahead. But the idea is not that you have to bend your eyes into the middle and follow your nose down, but it has to do with the inner winds. And if your eyes are just kind of heading down in some direction, that is supposed to help keep your mind centered on have less distractions to pull you away from things. So to me, that's a couple of things that people often get confused about or misled about. So today we're on the second half of class 3, and although we still have some lists, we don't have as many as last time. The first thing I want to talk about Kamala Shila and Master Hosang. And just to say, back in those days when the big shots had a big philosophical difference, they would debate it. And if one side, and the debates sometimes could go for days, they wouldn't sleep all night. And thousands of monks would sit around and watch until somebody reached a dead end and lost. And when somebody lost, his whole side capitulated to the winner side. So it was really a big deal, and there was a lot at risk. Well, Hosang said that, and he was a great Chinese philosopher, highly respected, very intelligent, extraordinary man. And he said, all you have to do is empty your mind and meditate on nothing. And Master Kamala Shila said, you must have content to meditate on. And Hosang concept is moving to this country. when Bonnie and I were first getting into Buddhism, we searched everywhere. Colorado was really a desert for Buddhism. And we went to one weekend, there was this advertising thing for Shambhala meditation. And so we went to Crestone for the weekend. You stayed in the cabin there, didn't say anything all weekend, and you walked in a circle. Or you sat down a little while, and then you got up and walked in a circle. And when it was over, I said, "What's this about?" Nobody gave us any instructions. He said, "Just clear your mind." And so that's the kind of thing that's moving to this country, and you have to be careful because people still say, meditate on nothing, or black hole, or that type of stuff, and that's how you see emptiness. In actuality, if you think about it, if you meditate on nothing, you're meditating on an object. And so you're not meditating on nothing. Even his basic concept was wrong. So we just mentioned last time, and just to define them a little bit better, there are three types of meditation. There's the single-pointed meditation or fixation meditation. And that's where you put your mind solidly on an object. And I mentioned a little bit last week, you might pick Lord Buddha. And so you might start just with the outline, his silhouette. And then you begin to fill it in. And you might start with the top, with his top knot. And then you go to his forehead and his eyes. And believe that his eyes are there. His nose that he can smell with. You feel the warmth. You feel it as a real body there. And you don't have to do it all in one meditation. Sometimes the Kadampas said that the best way to start meditation is in 6-minute intervals. Do 6 minutes, take a break. Do another 6 minutes, take a break. And that way, often it helps your concentration. So if you were to be doing a silhouette of Lord Buddha, the Dalai Lama, whomever it might be, you might just get to his eyes. Stop. That's okay, because your mind may start wandering again. And then go back and pick up nose, mouth, and so forth. And if you build on it, then eventually you can get to where you can see the whole person and feel the whole being there with you. So the second one is a review meditation. And that's going over the same concept repeatedly. You know, as it's been said, and I forget the age frame, but in the 20s, we began losing some of our brain capabilities. I believe it's the late 20s, 28, 29, something like that. And so we do things, some people do brain teasers, different kinds of things, which increase the synapses. And learning a new language. You create these new neural pathways and the new bridges in your mind, and it helps. Lightning, go on. All right, sit down right here. Sit right here and stay, and just stay right there. And that helps to keep your brain functioning better. The third one is analytical, and that's a problem-solving meditation. You find a question that you have, you put it in the center of your mind, and you think of every single aspect of it you can think of. Things that can't be answered, things that you can answer. And then you solve it from each of these angles. So the steps on the path, or the Lam Rim, That's the most important object of meditation. If you complete the meditation, you can do it the rest of your life. In the strict Lam Rim, Geshe Kelsang Rinpoche has a book, Lam Rim, with the meditations that are following along in it, and there are 28 of them. And you can, all of these build. Geshe Michael's broken them all down into these 15 courses where at the end of each class he has a meditation. And if you could somehow put all these together in the proper way, it'd come to the same 28. So they're the means, the steps of the path to enlightenment, and they come from the scripture of the perfection of wisdom, Prajnaparamita. It's like a service manual. Geshe Michael often talks about putting a lawnmower together, and you miss a part, it doesn't run. Well, it's the same thing. If you follow it step by step, you must. You have no choice. You get enlightened. Everything builds on that. And there are these 5 great books that form the basis of the Geshe Course. The subject matter of all 5 is contained in this text in the steps of the path. They're all also in the text. There's a 1-page, 3-column poem called Source of All My Goodness. They're all contained in that as well. But just to mention them briefly, there's the Perfection of Wisdom. And this, it's the lower half of the middle way. And if you're in the monastery, you're there for 12 years you do this for 12 years. Number 2 is the middle way. And that's the upper half of the highest teachings on emptiness in the mind-only school. And in the monastery, they do that for about 4 years. Do you need more light? You see? Okay. There's the Vinaya, which is on the vows, and that's the detailist school, and do that for about 2 years. There's the Abhidharma Kosha, the higher knowledge. And they do that for 2 years, and that's a very detailed, very difficult book to read. It's 3 small volumes translated. I've read it all. It's fascinating. It deals with the mind, the universe, where everybody comes from. It takes things down to elements that we hadn't even named till recently. It talked about what do you call them, people? Not artificial insemination, but with the egg retrieval and the implantation. I gave anesthesia for that. It describes all that. It's extremely technical and detailed in many ways. The inhabitants of this planet and other planets, how they come, where they come from, what happens to them. And then the 5th book is Logic, which you need to understand to see emptiness. And they did that every 3 months of a year throughout the whole time you're in the monastery. And in Jason Kappa's The Source of All My Goodness is My Kind Teacher. In that, it comes from the first Lam Rim, and discusses the benefit of devotion to your teacher. And you'll hear this over and over and over. You've got to have a teacher. You must be qualified, and you need to maintain a close relationship with him. You don't have to be sleeping in his house like Geshe Michael did. None of the guys in the monastery do that like he did with Ken Rinpoche. That's pretty unusual. But you can still be devoted to him in when you really get close to him, you can intermingle your thoughts with his and communicate with him. Every Lama, no matter what level they are, they have a teacher. So if you meditate on a Lama, you do a review meditation. And you do that with single pointed concentration. And there's 4 parts to a Lama meditation. Number 1, you develop faith and admiration in your teacher. You check him out. You get to know if they know what they're talking about. And really the way you check somebody out is make sure that what you know and what they're saying are compatible. The number 2, how to think about your Lama. That's how you relate to your Lama. You don't break your relationship. And that's purely a mental connection. And you think, you keep in mind, they'll save your life. They'll take care of you in this life, the in-between, guide you to the next life. And if you think about virtually anything you've ever had in life, anything you've ever done, it's often strongest in the early phases, and then it weakens, whether it's an object that you thought was the greatest gift in the world, and you almost forget it's there after a while, or whether it's a relationship, they lose the excitement. What is it? 50% of their 60% of the people have a divorce, yet they were strongly in love at one point in time. That's how our mind works. And that will happen with your Lama. And you have to fight it. You'll find things. Well, maybe what they said is true. And you know, he did do this and that. And yeah, maybe so. Maybe we ought to do something different. He hasn't changed. Your karma shifts. And it's something you have to struggle with, no matter who the teacher is. And this, whomever your teacher is, they are not going to present themselves as a perfect being. They're going to present themselves as a human in order for you to be able to identify with them. If they're too extraordinary, you can't match them. So when you make the connection with them, place your faith in them. And when they do something, there's a very good friend of mine who's a Kagyu monk. We used to teach at his center, and one student who was also a Geshe Michael student was taking teachings from him as well as us there. And this particular monk was seen by this student at a social event in a very formal attire, as though he was out with ladies. And it really upset the student. And I said to the student how extraordinary it was for Venerable Jose to dress like this, to make you question, to make you think. And often that is the case. They know what they're doing. And he did this for him. You have to fight it. And you have to think, because things are empty, they're not always as they seem. And that is just an example of how they're going to test you. And a good Lama will push you. Sometimes irritate you. Sometimes really challenge you. And it's easy to say, I can't deal with it, I quit. If you can realize, no matter how difficult or how strange it seems, They're out for your own good. You can come there. They'll test your anger level, your patience, your pride, and they all need to be tested repeatedly. And they may say different things. They're designing things for you. You may or may not have heard of Milarepa. He is said to be the greatest meditator of all times in Tibet, a highly respected, worshipped being. In his younger years, his mother was screwed by some of the town people out of her harvest. He got really angry. He used black magic. He made like he was in Colorado and had huge hailstones fall on people's houses and their crops, kill people, ruin their crops to get back at him because of what they did to his mother. He eventually realized that it was a mistake. He went to a non-ordained fellow, Marpa, who was one of the lineage people for Tantra. And Marpa said, at first said, no, I don't want you as a student. I won't have anything to do with you. He begged and screamed and hollered and cried, and finally Marpa said, okay, but you have to do exactly what I say, whenever I say, okay, anything you want. So he had him build it brick by brick, a 7-story building, perfect to his design. Milarepa was so proud of it, exactly what he wanted. Marpa, who was a very successful businessman, a drunkard, a wife beater. None of this quite fits for me, but he was all these things. He went out to Milarepa and he said, tear it down and build this 8-story one to these specifications. Milarepa's hands were bare, his feet were raw, wasn't much left of him. He rebuilt it. Guess what Marpa said? Tear that one down. Well, this went on several times. Most of us would just say, to heck with this. But he hung in there and he finally got the teachings. So what part of the region that he was so respected was not only it's got us. Oh, it's, yeah.
Hi guys.
Make it bigger.
I'm trying to hear. Yeah. Even the obstacles talking about all on the. Can you hear us?
Yes.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh well. Okay. As Esther was just saying, talking about heavy stuff, and there come obstacles. I think because I had moved the cursor, it thought we weren't using it.
Oh, yeah.
So Milarepa spent years in meditation. In fact, he lived off green nettles, and he turned green because of the dye that was in him, just temporarily. But people had seen him, and he was skin and bones. It was scary, but he was so dedicated to accomplishing this, as he became known as the greatest meditator of all time. So anyway, that's just a fellow that you can think about now and then and follow. Number 3 is how to act towards your Lama. And this goes in phases. At first, you just sit and listen. And then you want to help them. And then you want to do more help. And then you do stuff on your own for them. I mean, like Geshe Michael did for Ken Rinpoche. He took care of all the bills, all the mundane things in life, so Ken Rinpoche could concentrate on his teaching. And you do this in such a manner that it comes to where you can't distinguish between his desires and your desires. And the more you give, the more you get. Number 4, you develop reverence for your Lama. You feel this devotion. That's a sign of spiritual development. He's been with you. He's been waiting for you so that he can guide you. So you feel devotion. And how can your teacher guide you? And you can have more than one teacher that helps you along the path. How can he or they guide you? You have to give in to them. You have to let them. And as I say, sometimes it seems harsh, strange, weird, but they have a means behind it. So in the essence of this life, there are 3 attitudes that are their motivation. There's an attitude of lower capacity, and that's just where you want to take care of yourself, keep yourself from suffering. There's the middle level. And that's where you just want to help others. But then the third one is the greater way, the greatest level, which is learning to think and act like a bodhisattva so that you can reach enlightenment. And then you can truly do it. Another steps on the path meditation is the death meditation, which has 3 principles. The simplest one, the most obvious one, is death is certain. And when you go through this meditation death, it talks about, think about this day. You're going to die this day. Are you doing the right thing? Are you doing what you do if you're going to die this day? And so on and so forth. The crickets know they're going to die. So what? The thing is what you do with it, how it affects your mind and how it guides you, how it leads you. Because, number 2, you don't know when you're going to die. Even we have one friend that was probably a month ago now was killed in an automobile accident. He didn't know he was going to die that day. Didn't he know he was going to die when the accident occurred? He turned to his wife and said, "You should be looked at." All she had was bumps and bruises, and he died. We have another friend that's dying of prostate cancer, and he knows he's going to die, but he stays. So far, he stayed alive. You don't know. And that's why you have to live in a manner that when it does happen, you're doing okay. And that's what a death meditation helps you do. And the third one is what can help you. Friends, money that you've saved, doctors that you know, heat to keep you from freezing. Only what you planted in your mind stream with your spiritual aptitude is the Dharma. And that's all that can guide you through death, through the in-between, and into a good rebirth. And there are 4 laws of karma. And that is, as difficult as it seems, when the same yields the same. Good gives good. Bad gives bad. You know, they all heard the old saying, nothing good goes unpunished. We've got that wrong. The deeds are always greater, and we've talked about that before, and this is something that always troubles me some. Something happens to somebody and they say, well, I must have done exactly that in this past. Well, sometime in the past we've done something, a minuscule of that, and it has grown into that. And the guy that won the lottery may have just given away a dime 100 years ago, turned into a few million. But that's how karma works. And something doesn't happen to you unless you deserve it. Somewhere along the line, you've done it. That's the thing that attracted me to Buddhism. I'm responsible. I'm not carrying somebody else's burden. I can't take somebody else's burden at this point. Hopefully I can someday. But it's my responsibility. And once you've done something, it's just not lost. You can use the 4 forces and you can damage it or get rid of it, but it doesn't just go away. What are the 3 trainings, the 3 basket? Morality, concentration, wisdom. You may hear those as the first one is Vinaya. What do you say for concentration? I can't think. No, it's in the present paramita. Can't think right now. There, in your reading, only morality is mentioned here because it's the basis of the other 2. If you don't have morality, you can't concentrate, you can't gain wisdom. And if you're bothered by a bad act, you just can't concentrate. It dominates your mind, and you can't see emptiness. There's 2 definitions I've got to give you. One is quietude, and it's that single-mindedness which is imbued with the exceptional bliss of practiced ease due to deep, single-pointed meditation on its object. I'll say it again. Quietude is that single-mindedness which is imbued with the exceptional bliss of practiced ease due to deep, single-pointed meditation on its object. So it's a concentration of a relaxed mind from practice that sticks to its object. The other one is insight. And insight is that wisdom which is full of the exceptional bliss of practiced ease by the power of the analysis of its object, and which is founded on quietude. And I'll say that one again. Insight is that wisdom which is full of the exceptional bliss of practiced ease by power of the analysis of its object, and which is founded upon quietude. That's the official definition. You'll hear all kinds of things, especially if you see flyers that somebody's going to teach on some of these subjects and they don't even know what they're teaching on, but they know it's a real buzzword that'll get your attention.
Just this morning, the person who made my coffee said that they cooked for a Vipassana retreat, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was very high practice, you know, a special insight. And I said, "How long was the retreat?" She says, 4 days. You know, I started to think, yeah, I don't. I hope you could teach me how to reach Vipassana in 4 days.
Next time, ask them what the object of it is.
I
See if they really know what they're talking about. Okay, that's all I have. Any questions? Anything?
Oh, I do have a question.
Okay.
It's back on the teachers. I remember in Guadalajara, Geshe Michael had said, no, I mean, one of the classes somewhere, with your teacher, he told him to go rob a bank. So how do you know, well, I mean, that's that fine line. You know it's wrong to rob a bank. So when your teachers, that would be a test. So I'm just, you know, I'm trying to think, well, that's really an obvious one, but what if there are subtle things that you think are really ethically or morally wrong that your teacher would ask you to do? And you check this teacher out. I'm just trying to figure out, what if that were to happen? How would you figure that out?
The best thing to do in that situation is not to be critical of the teacher, because the teacher may have something in mind you don't know, or they may be unethical. So the best thing to do is step away from the teacher for a while, put it on the shelf, and think about it, and decide, is the teacher being unethical? Is the teacher right? Is it something I should or shouldn't do? Is he testing me, or is he a crook? And you have to work that out. And if you never come to a conclusion, it's best not to create bad karma by saying, this guy's a crook.
Okay, thank you. That actually really helped. Thank you.
Mhm. Okay.
Assume the position.
No, it takes me a bit. Okay.
Yeah.
You got it? You want to pick it up?
No, I don't.
사시 보기 중심의 더 정의라비시 인내김하기 사예신루 예와디 계곡은 수나예시 내규 수나예시 두주시 나방구이 동아시
And once again, rejoice in what you've done. You're 1 in 10 million that are taking part of your Thursday evening to learn some Dharma. Pretty special. Pretty extraordinary.
Thank you for teaching.
Thank you, Dr. Moore. Thank you for teaching. Thank you for teaching. It's Thursday, all the Thursdays.
Miss you guys. Hope to see you soon.
I do too. Thank you.
Bye,
Night,
guys.
Esther.